Hey guys, in this video, we are going to create a placeholder for our hair. We are going to do that using a sphere. So let's go ahead and create our UV sphere here. Just gonna move that in place. Alright, so just gonna move it a little bit at the back of the head. And then let's go to our sculpt mode. And onto our voxel size, just bring down the value here so we got a little bit more something to work with and remesh it. And I'm gonna turn on mirror and just smooth this out. I'm gonna go ahead and crank this up a little bit more because it was a little bit hard to smooth. Alright, I think this is good at the beginning. So just starting out with decent amount of voxel size. I don't want too much polygons to begin with, but later on I'm going to slowly decrease the voxel size so I can have a little bit more to work with for the hair. So just using the draw sharp to bring out the clay, holding control to bring that out. Make sure you look at your reference and try to get the silhouette of the hair down for your orc. So for the hair, I'm just gonna predominantly use the clay strip brush and the draw sharp to get the hair down, and also using the grab brush to just pull the mesh and then constantly remeshing this. So keep in mind, this hair here is just gonna be temporary, all right? We're going to create hair particles here later. And using the grab brush, just gonna ahead and move this down. Grab that down. So we got little hair hanging on the side. We gotta remesh this. Remesh that and then smooth. So I like to use the UV sphere here because it's just so easy to shape out. Just using the grab brush to get a shape down pretty quickly. Using the grab brush, pulling the mesh back and forth, and then inflating it, adding more shape to it. Even though we are going to be using the particle hair system later to create a realistic hair, we're not really going to create an actual geometry here for our final result. We need to do this though, because we need a visual presentation of how the silhouette of the hair is going to look. Yeah, we need to have at least the basic shape, the silhouette of the hair here that matches our character reference. That way, we're able to see which part of our face we need to modify. So after you create your shape of your hair and then you find that maybe the forehead might be too big, maybe the ears might be too small, maybe the cheekbone might be a little too wide. Now it's a good time to actually fix your face area, your head area. That way that it will actually match with the hair later on when you add your hair particle system. Because you don't want to add a hair particle system and then later on you find out that it doesn't completely match the face at all. So this is the purpose, this is the reason why we are creating a geometry first, a placeholder for our hair. That way we're able to modify whatever we need to modify now on the face if we need to. Because you don't want to be baking and adding your details and then later you're going to unwrap and then you're going to bake your mesh and then later on you find that there's a huge part of the face that you need to alter, and that's going to be a problem. So it's best to have something there to work with now to act as a visual information for our hair. That way anything that we have to make changes on our face, then it's going to be a good time to do it before we do it more the important immutable parts of the character workflow. So yeah, just using the sculpting brush and just shaping this out to look like the reference. Now, of course, if you are doing more of a stylized character, if you're doing more the Fortnite type of characters or Nintendo Switch Mario game where you actually have a geometry, then it's fine to use an actual mesh for the hair because that's more of a stylized feel to it. But later on, we need more of a realistic character, realistic hair here. That's why we are going to be using the particle system. But yeah, really, what you want to do, it depends on what you want to do. But yeah, this is more the purpose of this tutorial is going for more of a realistic orc. Yeah, if you're doing a game like Overwatch, then you could create a geometry type of hair. But think of this orc as more of a cinematic type of orc. For an orc for cinematic trailers. Yeah, so just going here to the back, adding a few of the hair strands. Yeah, sculpting a feel of a hair strand. So it doesn't really look like hair strand, but it just kind of feel more like if you look at a sculpture at a museum where you have sculptures of a human being there, it's going to look something similar to this where they just sculpted the hair. So yeah, if you're planning to do a stylized character, or if you're just planning to 3D print a character, then of course you cannot really use a particle system when you are gonna 3D print the head with the hair. So this is also a good method to use if you are planning to take this into the 3D printer, because yeah, that way you're gonna have like a little bit of hair there of geometry. And yeah, right now I am just adjusting my voxel size here, bring it down. So as you add more of the shape that you need for the hair, then you're gonna find yourself needing more polygons for the mesh, and just yeah, go ahead and decrease the voxel size as needed. So it doesn't really need to be perfect the hair, but one thing that you have to remember though is you need to make sure that the actual form really matches your reference. That way you could get a much more accurate end result when it's time to do the final hair. And right here I'm just masking the top part where I know I'm going to be adding the ponytail part for the orc. So I'm masking that. And I'm going to go to my mask extract and I'm going to turn off extract as solid and press OK. And so now I got a little piece of plane there that I'm going to extrude that out. Scale that. There you go. And back to sculpt mode. Okay, so we got a nice mesh to start with, and we can remesh that. Let's smooth this out, and yeah, there you go. Smooth that out. Yeah, I think this is good enough amount of poly count to begin with. So this right here, I am just doing the ponytail holder right now. And just trying to shape this out using the grab brush. Move that. So we got a little shape there going. And then using the draw sharp to kind of add a little bit of detail here, so it looks like there's a little bit of interesting design there. But of course, once again, I'm not attached to the design part. And for now, right here, I just want to go ahead and then protrude this out using the grab brush. This is going to be for the hair part, for the ponytail. Go ahead and move that down. And then remesh it. Make this wider. remesh that. And then bulk that up with the inflate brush. Inflate brush is very useful if you're trying to sculpt and then you feel like it's creating some holes at the other side of the mesh. Then just that could be the reason could be the mesh might be a little too thin. So just go ahead and use the inflate brush to bulk up the mesh. And back on the object mode, and I'm gonna go to set origin to geometry. That way I could move this a little bit easier. All right, great. Back to sculpt mode. Yeah, using the grab brush is just so much makes my life a lot easier, and I could create the shapes a lot more organically. Feels a lot more natural. And then using the grab brush again to just kind of pull this down. You can see me using the grab brush a lot. It's just such a satisfying way to create the shape so quickly. And remeshed, and then using the inflate brush, bulk that up. And grab that down. There you go, because the ponytail is gonna kind of lay down onto the head there. Yeah, you can see how important it is to just get our shape down here. Then using the grab brush, you just kind of add a little bit of a silhouette of the hair strand. And then back on the smoothing to crank up the smoothing brush and then smooth out some areas here. Gonna go ahead and adjust my voxel size to a higher value because I'm having a little bit of hard time smoothing. So yeah, if you're having a little bit of a difficult time smoothing, all you gotta do is either crank up the voxel size so you have a lower poly count, and if that doesn't work, just go to your smoothing brush and crank up your smoothing brush all the way up. That way you're able to smooth. But yeah, you should really just be working in a very low poly count right now anyways. You shouldn't be having so much polygons there to begin with when you're doing just the beginning of your sculpt. And I like to add just a little bit of details here and there, because if you just do just the silhouette of the actual hair with no hair strands, it's kind of hard to see what you need to adjust in regards to the shape. So it's you still got to add a little bit of hair strands here and there. Holding control and pulling that out. And back to object mode. Okay, it's coming along. Alright, I think the shape is kind of there, but need to adjust a few things here. Okay, so maybe this part needs to be pulled down and then move it forward a bit. And then back onto object mode. Gonna pull that forward a little bit, not too much. Move that down. Okay, so simply just adjusting the ponytail part, and then this right here could probably bulk this down. That way you could touch a little bit of the main hair. There you go. And move it down. Once again, it doesn't really have to be 100% perfect. Do take your time to get the forms down as much as possible. You don't want to stray away too much from the concept art. But of course, if you are doing your own, and you could still add your own style to it, but the point of this is just preparing for the actual hair particle system. But we won't do that until almost at the end of the tutorial. And back on the draw brush, you're just gonna protrude that out. You can see me here just looking from far away, trying to get the overall feel of the shape from afar. And then looking at my face here at the character, still have to adjust the ponytail part. Bring down the voxel size and remesh that. That way I can add a little bit more of the hair strands on there. Using the draw sharp, carving in the clay. There you go. Okay, it's coming along. Coming along. I'm gonna go ahead and change my shader to see how it's looking. All right. Gotta further adjust the ponytail. I think this is a little too wide. There you go. And then pull this out, make it a little wider, and add a little bit more of the hair strand. Back on the face area, I'm going to go to sculpt mode for my face and adjust the face here. I think the brow ridge needs to be bulkier. It looks a little flat. And the good thing about having the placeholder for the hair is we could see more if our face is looking more and more like the concept with the hair. And this is especially important if you're doing a likeness character, if you're doing a celebrity, how important it is to get a placeholder there so you could see how the likeness is going. But yes, coming along really well.